You're watching Network Radio. Live from the Media Broadcasting Center.
Look to the right of your screen. You see right there getting into that car. So this is all we've got here.
Hello and welcome to the Media Broadcasting Center. My name is Chance George. I will be the producer for the night, and I'm also going to be joining Bev Collins for another edition of 9/11 Talks. We have Bev on the line. How are you doing tonight, Bev?
I'm doing great, Chance. How about you?
Well, we're crazy around here in the last 24 hours, just trying to keep up to date with what's going on and some of the stuff that's coming out, and trying to sort out exactly what's happening. So let's just turn it over to you. You can do your thing, and I'm going to try and get a couple things queued up in the background while we get this show started.
Sounds great. Tonight, based on what occurred yesterday in Canada, we did have an attack both on a soldier at the National War Memorial as well as in our Parliament itself. So there's been a lot that has transpired in Canada in the last 24 hours, and I really would like to spend the majority of this show, if not all the show, discussing what took place yesterday. From the very beginning, it was quite frightening to hear that something was happening to Canada. I guess we believed that we would be immune to such things, but the more that our conservative government that's presently in power sends our troops to other wars around the world, the more we open ourselves to potential terrorism and backlash from those countries. So we shouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, it took our police forces by surprise, or at least so they said. I found that quite interesting, apparently because there had been more chatter. Our intelligence agencies, according to the media, have been advising Parliament that they were going to increase the likelihood of a potential attack from limited to a medium level based on what happened on Monday. Now, for those of you who don't know, Monday of this week, there was a man in Quebec City who used his car to run into two Canadian soldiers, running over one and killing one. This was immediately called an act of murder, which it was, cold-blooded murder, and that connected with what happened yesterday at the National War Memorial in Ottawa as well as in Parliament, has made our Prime Minister determined that it is an act of terrorism. Therefore, as of today, right away, he's pushing forward with new anti-terrorist legislation that will give our intelligence services much more in the way of power over the Canadian people. So we're going to discuss a lot of different topics about that tonight. One thing that got me interested when I first started watching all the different news scenarios yesterday morning from CBC and Globe and Mail and National Post, etc., Ottawa Citizen, was the fact that the police were responding to more than just that one area. They felt that there were multiple shooters. The first witnesses that came out discussed finding or seeing, I should say, multiple shooters. There was a man dressed exactly like the man with the firearm that was standing there. He jumped out of the car when the guy left the car to go running across Wellington and up Parliament Hill in order to get to the Parliament building. And apparently at that time the other guy took off. So as of today, though, the whole story has changed, and there's now not multiple shooters. There weren't multiple places that shootings were heard. Yesterday morning, when it first came out in the media, there had been shots fired at the memorial, as well as Parliament Hill, as well as the Rideau Centre. And the police were responding. They had closed down the Rideau Centre. All the stores were locked down. All the people were kept inside. Many of the businesses on Rideau Street were in lockdown as well, while the police went and investigated. And they could not find any other shooters, but they did at that time say there would be 2 or 3 shooters, and there was a number of shots fired. So if that was the case, it obviously did not come from the one person who first took a shot when he was at the National Memorial on the other side of Wellington Street. Now, I don't know how many people know Ottawa as well as I do. That's my hometown. But one thing I do know, especially since September 11th of 2001 and the terror attacks in the U.S., our Canadian government immediately passed legislation, anti-terrorist legislation, that paralleled the Patriot Act in the USA. And much of that legislation was based on the fact that we needed to also keep our country secure and whatever. I think what's happening now is we're going to see much more in-depth anti-terrorist legislation that's being passed in Parliament very shortly, because what happened yesterday happened to all parties. It coincidentally happened at exactly the time of day when all the parties were in their caucus meetings in Parliament on the ground floor. So I would tend to think the guy must have known when all that was happening, because he was able to get through, I'd say, 9 different levels of security in order to get into Parliament with a rifle to begin with. I mean, you know, Tom McClare was stopped. He's the leader of the NDP party. He was stopped a couple months ago and really raked over the coals in the media for wanting to go through a security checkpoint, because he goes through it every day. He's the leader of a federal party. He figured he was in a hurry. He could just, you know, go through the thing, wave at them, and continue on. And he was given a really hard time for not stopping and showing his ID, even though they knew who he was, etc. So here you have that kind of level for the leader of the New Democratic Party, but at the same time, this man was able to run and take a vehicle, drive it 100 meters, run out of the vehicle, run up to Parliament buildings, run into the central block, be able to fire off a shot, run down the hallway towards the Hall of Honor and the library where these caucus meetings happened to be taking place, when he was shot, supposedly or allegedly, by the Sergeant of Arms in Parliament, who happened to be a retired RCMP officer. And if you hear the Globe and Mail's video clip of the shooting that takes place in Parliament, you will hear one rifle shot, but the other 20 to 30 shots that were heard afterwards were police responding in fire. So it wasn't one gunman shooting off 20 or 30 shots. It was one gunman that might have got off one shot before he was killed, or that first shot would have been Kevin Vickers, the Sergeant in Arms, shooting him dead before the volley of the police fire took place from the 20 or 30 shots. So I found that kind of interesting, because how this man was able to get through so many levels of our CMP security without being seen, having a rifle, running with a rifle, being able to access Parliament. People can't just go into Parliament anymore. That's been stopped for years now. So how he was able to get in, and as far as he could, really makes me want to take a look at our supposed protectors, which is the RCMP and the CSIS, because they obviously let us down yesterday for that to be able to happen. So I'm joined tonight with my producer, Chance, and I'm looking forward to an open discussion of different things that we saw yesterday that kind of at least have made me go, you know, there might be more to this story than what we're being told. It is timely for the Harper government, who very much wanted to push for further legislation at a time when the other parties were in opposition to him in regards to this. So I found it very timely, the fact that this happened yesterday. Now all the opposition parties are totally in favor of his legislation that he wants to run through right away. So good coincidence, I guess, for Mr. Harper and his anti-terrorism legislation agenda. So, Chance, are you with me?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm glad you went down that angle, and you took the whole political view and the legislative and everything that happened there, because I've been running down a whole lot of other angles, and I didn't even think of any of that.
Oh, well, there you go.
I knew it was coming. I had the feeling that we were going to get a Patriot Act, and that could actually bring up a whole other kind of behind the scenes. I believe it was October 14th this year. We saw a worldwide Patriot Act be signed into agreement with multiple countries, over 100 countries. It was at the United Nations very recently, and it kind of was in the back of the newspaper behind all the Ebola garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, we've got all this chaos going on. I immediately got a phone call. I got the wife definitely called me right away to say, have you got your updates or anything happening? Have you seen the news? Nope. Boom. right on the news, started watching it right there from the phone, started listening to all the talk shows, started hearing what people were saying, got a little bit of ground information. There's 3 shooters. They said that a car pulled up, 2 people went both ways. I have a video right here of the car. Let me just cue this up. I know. Do you have the episode page open or anything like that?
Yes, I do. So this is the one where he actually walks around and gets into the car?
Yes, this is a car passing
Yep.
by, coincidentally, and just happened to videotape it and get a good shot of it, and then it's looping back and forth. You might want to hit mute on your episode page. You probably already did, but
Yep.
just kind of you watch the clip, and it might be a little bit laggy for you behind, but everybody at home should be able to see this, and we'll get this rolling.
Look to the right. Look to the right of your screen. You see right there, getting into that car. So this is all we've got
Right
here.
after the black limo, yeah.
Right. So you see, this is it now. This would be. I'm just looking at where this car is. This would be seconds after he has shot Corporate Cirillo. Now, just hold the video there, Jerry. If we understand, we've confirmed this is the suspect and this is the car. So what you can see to the
No
right
license
there,
plates.
this is the War Memorial. About 100
Guy that's
feet away
walking
or
to the
150
car and
feet
gets in the
is
car
where
is the
he
shooter
shot
that
point
just
blank
shot
Corporal
one of the
Cirillo
soldiers
as he
standing
was,
outside the
standing
National
on
War
guard at the
Memorial,
War Memorial.
and just
Then
nonchalantly
you
walks
can
with
see
his
what's
rifle into
chilling about this video
around
is
his
how
car and gets
deliberate
into
he
his
is.
car
He
to
almost
drive towards
pauses
the
for a minute
Parliament
as he
building.
gets into his car. And if you can see it here, and we'll try to make this bigger, look at, he's now killed someone and he gets into his car, and then he literally seems to drive. I guess what would have happened, he kind of circles around,
he must have.
and he must have circled around. We just don't.
All right, yeah, stop that. I couldn't really talk over it because it's coming through my speakers, and we'll get the old echo effect going on. But I believe everyone got the gist of how that's kind of, not only is it coincidentally that someone just happened to be driving by and got a video of all that, but he kind of just, nonchalantly just kind of walked out, right to the car,
Like,
got
exactly,
in.
like he'd done nothing wrong.
No license plates on the car. It does look like there's some form of permit or trip thing in the back window, but I mean, just cruising around with no license plates gets you yanked, people. I can tell you that from personal experience.
Well, absolutely, and especially downtown Ottawa, and especially near the Parliament buildings. This is a guarded area, has been for years.
Now,
so
I could,
if any intelligence... Go ahead.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with you when you were talking about heightened intelligence alerts and different things like that. As you remember, I went on the Bev Collins show, and I also did a show the night before talking about the possible terrorist attacks on American soil for the September 11th anniversary. And I said that they were possibly going to target malls, they were going to do schools, all that type of thing, and I saw it coming. And we always said, if Canada sticks their nose in the business of ISIS and in this Iraq thing and goes out there and goes on a limb and says we're going with America, then you could basically expect that's coming back here. If it's real, if it's faked, if it's allowed, if it's just agitated, whatever it is, you can basically expect it. And this is exactly what happened, and we're seeing it now. I don't know if you want to pull the October surprise card out, but there is an election. This is an October surprise scenario. You know what I mean? You were saying they all happen to be there. Who's going to play their cards the best? Who's looking right? We basically got that guy that I'm calling Canada's Obama, that young. Hey, look at how slick I look back of the room. He started asking questions today. Forgive me, I don't know his name because I don't care. But
Okay.
who's that really young-looking politician guy? Everyone knows him. He's a big famous guy. I don't even care. He's just a liar, and I see him taking the next election because basically everyone's looking at him like he's this new hope change. He's going to legalize weed. You know what I mean? He's one of these guys, and he's just terrible. And I think he's terrible. Terrible.
Oh, you mean like Justin Trudeau, the leader of the Liberal Party?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, see, I don't know this guy's name. It's unimportant to me. I wouldn't vote for him. I wouldn't vote for any of them. It is all a scam, and I'm not falling for it anymore. Did you notice, Bev? One of the big things right now that we're seeing in the media is kind of all the media people are sharing. Correct? You're seeing them all sharing the same video. We're seeing that Globe and
Oh,
Mail
yes, in the
video.
same articles, absolutely.
Okay, so they're all sharing the Globe and Mail video, but
Yeah.
there was other camera people there, and there's
Yes.
other camera angles taken, and
Yes.
there's video proof that I have right now queued up that you have people going on a crime scene, active crime scene. Like, you can't take a press and just walk onto a crime scene after it's already,
No.
everyone's already dead, everything's clear,
Yeah.
that you can't walk on. So you cannot walk on a crime scene when it's an active shooter scenario, and you can't, like Bev said, get into Parliament like it's a free tours on. We're going in to go check out Parliament. Come on in. We're in session. No, we're having a gun battle in the hallway. Don't mind us. Come on in. Press. You know what I mean? That crap doesn't fly. I'm calling Bravo Sierra on this one because this is total BS, and there's no way that this is what we're supposed to be being told. So if we have that one guy that's in the hallway that has the crappiest kind of camera phone, or he's got something, right? Like, it's terrible. The shots go off, the phone drops, pretty dramatic. You can't really tell what's going on. Everything is grainy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus in on this, and it's just crap. So I go looking around. I have to find an alternative footage. There has to be someone else has a camera phone. It's 2014. So we get on there, and we got CBC News footage of this. And it's way better. It's 3.5 minutes long or something. It's way longer, and it has some evidence in it that I think is going to blow people away. For one,
Good.
how fast did this reaction happen that the people got on scene? We'll come back to what I think was happening with the people getting on scene so quickly in just a minute, and that's from a CNN report that I'll disclose some information, but. When the people got on scene immediately, Bev, they went at the shooter, and like you said, either someone shot him right away, or there was a conflict happening immediately. So how did not only that one news guy get there and get his camera up and do all that, but how, and when I roll this video, we're going to see not one, not two, but 3 people with giant frickin' shoulder camera, microphone in hand, the whole 9 yards, all of them hiding behind pillars and getting multiple shots from multiple angles. The entire thing was videoed, and there's mega press in there. And then we count the other crappy video footage that we have, and that makes a 4th person. And then you follow these guys down the hallway. What do we have? We see another officer. I'm getting like pissed off here. We see another officer down the hallway. He's just basically standing around talking to some suit. Next thing you know, you turn around and there's 10 more cameramen in the lobby. The shots are firing off. There's still people running around. The press, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in an emergency situation and there's a gunman going into your house, screw call 911, call the press, because you'll have 10, 15 guys in your lobby in minutes. Well,
one of the press people, a good question. Well, one of the press people said, they were there just sitting outside waiting for the caucus meetings to be over so they could ask people what happened in the
how'd you
caucus
get in
meetings
the
that day.
building in an active shooter scenario? It's a crime scene.
I know.
Can I roll the
I
video,
know.
Bev?
Yes,
Let's
please.
take a look at this, because this is more
All right.
garbage. I'll try and not talk over, because I'll echo, but
Okay.
this irks me. And now it's personal. We're in Canada. This is what we got to deal with. Okay, I'll just crossfade. Notice this is from a different angle. Sorry, it's about to start happening. Not much right at first here. Okay, let's stop it right there. Basically, what we just saw there was the fakest looking group of gentlemen go running by an emergency procedure. Did you hear what he said when he walked through the door? There was about about four of them walked through the door. The guy who looks like he's in the middle in charge, who walked through with his firearm up first. All of them walked in with their firearms down. He walked in and said, "Firearm procedure." And then all of a sudden you see all of them lift up. So that's just, you know what I mean? It's kind of, if you were to take this as what happened as an active shooter scenario, then you're looking at this like, wow, this is amazing footage. If you were looking at this like, does this look like a training drill to you or not? You would be looking at this going, yeah, that kind of actually does look like a training drill. It just looks like it ends up being a lot of people kind of running around, some commotion. We'll keep this going because there's more, and I'm going to stop this again because there's a couple really good parts coming up.
Okay.
And freeze frame. Just before we panned right, there was that dude who's probably the one you're seeing in the crappy video from Globe and Mail on like looks like a smartphone video, that guy. But now we pan down the hallway, and on the left in the freeze frame right now you're looking at one of them big giant cameras that my wife probably would love to have. You know what I mean? That's one of them professional ones with the pro mic boom on top. Okay?
You can see it.
So we've got guy down the hall is 1, guy holding the cameras 2, guy standing right here is 3. Okay, so that's 3 professional photographers. Let's keep this rolling. I'll drop my audio. Sorry. He's still in picture, and right there. Oh. Just a quarter of an inch. I went back too far. Sorry. There, you'll see another guy in the doorway here.
Yeah.
Right there, another guy. Big giant camera, whole thing all set up.
Yeah.
So there's another one.
So when did they have time to set these cameras up?
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, we're still rolling. Watch this, Bev.
Oh, yeah.
Where should we go?
That guy points a gun at him right there. Watch this. Whoa, shit, duck, boys. Watch this. Here's the kicker. Oh, sorry to bother you, officer and suit. Just standing there having a conversation. And then we pan to the big lobby full of everybody. Hi. Holy cow. One in the back, another one on the shoulder cam, one on the hip down here, another guy walking in the back, another one on the left here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in the lobby, giant freaking cameras, 4 down the hallway, another one running, another guy right there. Bev, tell me what is going on.
Well, first off, they wouldn't allow normally cameras to be there. They would evacuate the building. That's what their whole purpose was at that time. That's why they ran down the halls and told everybody in the caucus meetings to stay put, to barricade the doors, do not go near the windows, do not go near the doors. So if they're evacuating, or well, they wanted to evacuate the MPs but couldn't at that time, so they're telling everyone to stay in, why would they allow media cameras to come in and cover this? Plus the ones that were there were nicely set up, taking pictures of the whole thing. Very good question.
Well, I'm calling BS on this.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, what we're talking about, I do not want people to believe that we are ignoring what happened yesterday to that soldier. My thoughts and prayers do go out to his family. No one deserves to lose their life, and especially someone who was standing guard, for heaven's sakes, at our national memorial, war memorial. I agree. He should not have been shot. Nothing like that should have happened in Canada. But at the same time, now that it has, it really is upon us to find out what truly happened, who was behind it, who stands to benefit from this. Was it this lone, deranged gunman that all of a sudden, according to the media, has decided to convert to Islam? Because today's news articles have come out and said that as of today, the police see no apparent links at all between what happened in Quebec on Monday and what happened in Ottawa yesterday. That the only gunman that apparently converted to Islam was the one that was Monday when he ran over the Canadian soldiers.
I don't believe a word they say. Everybody says, "Oh, Chance, what are we just going to question everything that happens? Are we just going to question every event? Every event's a false flag now, Chance? Is that what we're questioning?" Yes. Are you kidding?
Well,
Are we going to question everything? Of course we're going to question everything. We've been lied to since Gulf of Tonkin, what got us into the other wars, into the USS Liberty. We've been lied to about Vietnam. We've been lied to about 9/11. We've been lied to about Sandy Hook. We've been lied to about the Boston bombing. We've been lied to about everything. Okay, fluoride is not good for you people. The government doesn't give a shite. Google demo side right now. Just I know people are sitting in front of your computer, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this show. Pull up your Google, put in demo side, and maybe you'll realize that 260 million people have been murdered by their own government in non-war times in the last 100 years. Democide. University of Hawaii. Bam. Think about it. Okay? What's the most dangerous thing in the world? Government.
Yeah. It certainly is.
Do you honestly think that guy got shot though, Bev? Is that the route you're going with?
That he got shot?
Yeah.
What, the soldier?
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't see any different. It's interesting though, the events that I have read from many different news articles, and every different news article has a different spin on what happened. But I understood that yes, the one soldier was shot. But what's interesting is that there's a photo that I sent you too that shows a number of people around this person on the ground trying to give them CPR or what have you. And there's a man standing there who is not a police officer, who's not a first responder, but he's right there with them. And he's got jeans and a hoodie on, and he's standing right beside the steps that have two of those assault rifles right beside him. And I thought, why is this guy there? Like, why wouldn't they get rid of him? Do you know what I mean? If it's a crime scene and if it's a place where they're having to do immediate responses to this person lying on the ground, why would they be allowing this other person to just be there? And I found that very odd. And he doesn't show up in other pictures after that as well.
Yes,
so I don't know if he was an undercover officer or what have you, but that I found very interesting.
I didn't actually see the picture that you sent because it was on my phone and it was terrible. But
okay.
I do have. I'm just trying to pull up.
It's a Maclean's article.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up as many. I have like 50 links open right here so that I could.
Oh yeah, I know. Me too.
Check all this out.
Yeah, it's a Maclean's article, and it's saying Canada, Ottawa shooting, how the terror unfolded. And towards the bottom. Another thing that surprised me right away is the major first responders weren't looking like RCMP officers at all. They looked more military than even our military looks military.
Yeah, we haven't got to that part.
Did you see that picture? Huh?
Bev. We haven't got to that part.
Oh.
I
Am
did.
I jumping ahead on you?
Well, you're the reason why I keep saying it. This is probably one of my favorite shows on the network. Is 9/11 Talks. You're on the ball and on target. So I mean, I have to try and get a picture of this.
Well, yeah, because the one picture of these two soldiers made it into lots of mainstream media yesterday. But they were definite military. They were not your RCMP. What you saw later was the RCMP and the SWAT squad and what have you. But these first ones, they're definitely military. And they were there first.
Let me. I got something on screen. Let me make sure that I can slide in on this a little bit better. And I'll try and zoom in even smaller. Okay, what we're looking at here is the chest pump picture, and I've zoomed in as good as we can. So let's say this guy has been shot in the head. They're probably not going to start performing CPR. And if you notice that these people who are standing in the background don't really look very concerned that there's two other active shooters and some guy murdered in front of them.
Well, that's just it.
But
in the event that there are other shooters, why are these people just standing there?
Yeah, I know. Now the guy on the ground, you can presume, now I might be making an assumption, but if you presume that he was shot in the head, they're not going to do CPR. He's dead. Game over. JFK. End of game.
Yep.
So let's assume this guy's shot in the chest. Could be a couple times, could be whatever. And they're pumping on his chest. He's probably been shot more than once. And I do not see, and this is minutes in, where is the giant piss pool of blood? I don't want to get graphic on people, but I want to see a giant piss pool of blood rolling down this set of stairs, if that is what probably happened, and I don't see it. We're zoomed as far in as I can go.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another.
Now, the thing is, I understood it was a shotgun that actually killed this soldier.
There
Is
should
that
be
correct?
a hole and parts all over here. I don't know if anybody's ever grabbed a shotgun and let go on it, but I'll tell you what, it'd make a hole.
It would blow a very big hole.
Now, there's another picture. I'm trying to pull that one up. This one's even more damning. And this is the one when he's actually been dead. He's on the ground. He's been dead for more than minutes, and I think they're trying to actually move him or do something at that point in time. And I got to get this picture up because his face looks red, blush in the face, like you've been sweating and you're kind of got lots of color in your face. He looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look like a stiff, dead, cold, faceless. Like everyone's lost someone and looked into their face at the funeral and just thought, that doesn't even look like Grandpa. Because they're not the same anymore. They look different. And this guy, full of life, totally looks color in the face, kind of frustrated color in the face, and it's not kind of what we should have been seeing.
Are you able to pull that one up?
I'm looking.
Okay.
I'm dealing with a moderate crisis with my computer, just not really cooperating with me at the moment. I've got a screen that's on the blink and all that, but we'll get to all this up. And
all right.
anyone who's watching and paying attention,
definitely I would suggest to people to look at that McLean article, because that is a very important one. I think.
But so far,
it shows a lot more information.
Let's take a step back and pretend that all of this so far is real. Everything up to this point's real, and maybe just this just looks funny, and we're just being speculative. Should we get into some factual-based evidence that I think might be really damning? Well, I think that video of the cameraman was pretty damning. But let's go a step further. What is one of the number one telltale signs of a false flag scenario, since you report on false flag scenario a lot?
The telltale sign. Well, usually they have a patsy that they have to kill.
That's a good one, and we look like we went from 3 shooters down to 1 shooter, and it is the lone wolf, and we do have some tweets of people actually tweeting that out. If I can maybe get some of this stuff up and on screen.
But all the news, and I mean all the news yesterday morning, including eyewitness reports, talked about more than one shooter.
Oh.
Talked about as many as 3 shooters. And that the shooting was happening in different places at the same time. So how can that then be changed within 24 hours to a lone gunman?
Because some jackass who owns the media said, scrub that. Just like we always see first day reporting is one of the other things that we see of telltale signs. First day reporting is basically what comes out in the news, and then they scrub it. And then, like Dan Rather, I believe, was the one who on 9/11 said, it looks just reminiscent like one of those buildings coming down that we've all seen before.
Oh, yes,
and then that kind of never got said on national television ever the hell again. But the one that I'm talking about, what's Webster Tarpley been harping on? 46 that were running on the day. What was he talking about? 46 drills on 9/11. Okay. On the Boston bombing, we had a drill about a marathon getting bombed. We were looking at the 7/7 bombings. They had drills running that day. Here's the one thing: I had 3 episodes talking about false flag and explaining that the drill facilitates the event. You have a drill, you get well-meaning, good people involved. They have no idea. They think they're running a drill, and that either gets the patsy in, that sets up the patsy, that sets up the crime. Sometimes the patsy's involved in a drill. All of a sudden it goes live. The drill has dropped security. The drill has stopped people from being able to find out really what's going on. On 9/11 we saw fake planes because of all the different NORAD drills that were going on. No one was able to respond. And then you start to see just a number of things that are able to be covered up by the facilitation of a drill being run. And we've taken actuaries from insurance companies about what is the possibility of a drill happening somewhere at the exact same time, and then that exact event happening. And the actuary worked out to be like all the grains of sand in the world to 1 against that actually happening. But yet we just listed off Boston bombings, all these Sandy Hook, all these different things had drills running. So the first thing I wanted to do, as soon as I got near some internets, I was like, well, guess we better check and see if there was any drills scheduled. So how would we do that? Well, we decide that we go to, and maybe I'll just do this on screen right in front of people, because then they might believe me. We'll go
because I didn't know there was a drill.
Canadian Armed Forces. Yes. Armed Forces. Yep. So this is an actual government website. Yeah. Canadian Armed Forces. And let's go to operations. We might as well go to military exercises, because that'd be a good place to hide your secrets, right on the frickin' homepage. And then we have a number of exercises. So I read every single one of these yesterday. I stayed up for hours, and I went through what all of them mean and what they all do. And I actually investigated things, because that's what people do when they want to actually find out what's going on. Okay? I can't sit here and report on what CNN tells me, because they're a bunch of frickin' liars. I can use them as examples to prove my point, but if I take their word for anything, I'm screwed. And so are the people, and that's basically what we're looking at right now. So now that I'm on the Armed Forces one, I decided that by all measures, the one that applies here, the absolute best, is Exercise Determined Dragon. Which just sounds really fancy and all that. So, I will actually, I'm going to pull up a picture right now, because I highlighted some of the things. Set as background. Actually, you know what? I can probably highlight it better right on this screen. Okay, so right at the top here, you'll see that this wants you to have the ability to execute various scenarios in defense of North America, because they don't call it Canada anymore. You won't see that on here doing all that. Okay, so people are like, okay, well, various scenarios. Okay, well, what's the significance of that? Okay, well, look at the date when it says they have the plan is being planned in June to August. It's being phased, the planning phase in September to October, but the execution phase from 20 to 29 October 2014. Bev, what was the date on the first event that we saw?
The 20th.
So this is the
Was
execution
Monday when the-
phase from
Yeah.
20th to 29th. What was the date you said on that first
Wow.
one, Bev?
Well, the first one was the 20th,
And then we
and
saw
then
the...
yesterday, of course, was the 22nd.
All right, and on the 21st, we have reports from Ontario that on Highway 401, we're having cars being shot at. On
What?
Yes, 3 different vehicles on the road that I drive on every single day is being getting shot at, and that's coming.
I've never heard a thing about that in the media.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't hear about the things that are going on right now. Today, a lockdown. I had, I learned about this on a playground picking up my children from school. One of the mums mentioned that they have family that was in a lockdown situation. It wasn't their school, but within, I believe, about 7 to 10 kilometers away, there was another school that was on real life lockdown, and this, I believe, was in the west coast of Canada, and they were on lockdown because there was a bomb threat. Someone wanted to blow up the school.
Oh my gosh!
Okay, so we talked
And
about.
that was today.
We talked about. Yes, that's today. So we talked about,
Wow.
shootings. We talked about schools. We talked about bombs going off in malls, Rideau Center. You know what I mean? This is exactly what I've been standing here warning people, making myself look like a fool when people say, "Oh, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I waited on 9/11. Nothing happened. You're a liar." Well, thank God I wasn't right that second. But you know what? I admitted to people, yeah, I was wrong. I thought it was going to happen on that day. The only thing I wasn't wrong about was my timeline. That was what I was wrong about. I wasn't wrong about the information.
Yeah. And so, what was this exercise determined Dragon 14 supposed to do? Was it supposed to prepare our Canadian forces for terrorist attacks? What's the purpose of it?
Yep, and it's
I can't read it on the screen.
it's basically trying to use joint forces between America and Canada. So we're kind of enabling the security and that North American Union angle, and that's basically part of it right there. I'm trying to scroll down and read this while I'm actually on here.
That's interesting timing because Obama immediately offered American assistance,
Of course
and
they
also
did.
said it was time for Canada to really become part of the North American perimeter for our own protection.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Okay, so now you will just say Chance George is frickin' crazy and he's a conspiracy theorist. Actually, I got that on screen right now where it circled all those. And this is why he's crazy and this can't be happening in the news. So, like we said, we can use news articles to kind of back up our points and see if we can't get some validations for what we're talking about. Oh, this is absolutely driving me nuts, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this is stunning because I had not heard very much out here out west in regards to what was happening in Quebec. There were a few news articles, but otherwise not very much. And so I thought, wow, some silly driver, accidentally hit these soldiers and killed one. I didn't realize that it was a designated attack on Canadian soldiers. And then you mentioned on the 21st about cars in Toronto supposedly being shot at. Well, I can definitely assure you that I didn't hear anything like that in the media, and I follow the media all the time. So there was nothing out west that I'm aware of that talked about this happening in Toronto. And then yesterday, of course, the attack's happening in Ottawa, and then today you mentioned in BC. Gee, I wonder, I don't want to know what's happening tomorrow if that's the case, because it sounds then like everything between the 20th and the 29th we need to be aware of.
Okay, this article has been scrubbed from the internet, so I took a bunch of screenshots. I've just posted the article right up on here so you can see this. And it says CNN World. This is from the very first day, Wednesday, October 22nd. I left this on my screen. I haven't closed this because when I actually checked it on my phone the next morning and it said updated article, this was all gone. And this is all gone. So I'm just using this CNN World as a reference into what I'm saying about the drills. Okay, so everyone can basically say, Chance George is lying to me. He just found some drill on some government website. They could have been operating in frickin' none of it. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. Sorry, I'm getting really hostile here because this is really this is starting to bother me. Like I'm pissed.
The CNN article says terrorist murdered soldier in cold blood. Canada's Prime Minister says.
Yeah. Now we always got to scroll to the bottom of the article because that's where they hide the juicy stuff. So we skip all this crap because they're basically lying to us, and we'll get down near the bottom and we'll see if we can find the good stuff. And I will zoom in for everyone because that's the type of guy I am. And right here it says, the soldiers appeared to have been shot in the back, said Peter Henderson, a journalist who was at the memorial at the time of the shooting, coincidentally. Other soldiers who were nearby doing drills at the time ran to help.
Wow. So then why didn't any of them shoot the shooter? That's what I didn't get. They did have rifles with them, these soldiers that were standing on guard. Why didn't the other soldiers shoot them? Why didn't these other soldiers then shoot that were doing nearby drills?
Bev, I'm going to put your mind in the mind of a criminal for a minute. Let's just say you're about to run into the Parliament buildings, hypothetically, because me and Bev would never do this because we actually battle these people with intellect, and apparently we're winning because they attack our show all the time. Now, if you're about to be all deranged and run up the front door and shoot up a Parliament building, probably knowing that no one in there has guns, so that's, you're probably home free. It's like a school shooting. It's basically easy pickings. But would you run past a group of soldiers who were nearby doing drills? That sounds like an army platoon standing next to the Parliament building, and you're going to run up there, be running from one place to the next place, covering half a kilometer of distance. You got 3 guys, but you're only 1 guy. You got a car that's out front with no plates. This is all bull. Okay? I am fed up with this crap. I've probably got 15 other points. I couldn't even get through it in another hour. You know what I mean? I hope people stay tuned to this network. I'm gonna put together as many special reports as I can because this is I believe that we're catching these people faster and faster and faster when this stuff happens. They used to get away with it.
Well, this then makes perfect sense when it mentions soldiers doing the drills because of those pictures of those soldiers. The ones that I said, they look more like military than they do our CMP,
and that's
which
why
they
I
obviously
was like,
were then military.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, they certainly had the firearms to get rid of that guy well before he ever got to Parliament. The thing is, it's not just a hop, skip, and jump where he started out, where he shot that guy. How anybody could allow him at that point to leave there, cross Wellington Street, cross the other street that you have to get to even before you start up Parliament Hill. I mean, come on. There's guards at the gates, there's guards at the top of the hill, there's guards at the bottom of the hill, there's guards as soon as you go inside Parliament Hill. Like, there's just no way that this person should have been able to do all of this and not be seen or apprehended or caught by anyone.
Single-handedly with 2 buddies.
Yeah.
What are they, frickin' ninjas? They couldn't see them anymore.
That I don't know. But what I do know is, as of today, Mr. Harper has brand new anti-terrorist legislation.
That's the part that I like.
To.
That's why I like you, Bev. You're right on top of what they're doing in that little building, that crooked little building full of crooks. So you stay tuned to what they're doing. I'm going to watch these other jackasses, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. NBC is on this.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, sounds good to me.
I think I've had a great show, Bev. I think I've been on fire tonight.
Oh, well, good. I think you have too. And you know what? It's about asking questions. I have no doubt that a person was killed yesterday, that people were killed. But what I want to know is who was truly behind it and who stands to benefit the most from this. And right now, I think it's a 50-50 between Mr. Harper and the terrorist out there.
Unbelievable. I got one quick clip that I hope people listen to it, and it gets the point across about just turning your damn TVs off. We got better news here anyway. Chance George being a co-host. Kind of loves being on the show. Thanks again, Bev. And we'll be
My
back
pleasure.
next week with a whole bunch of things. I believe NBC, just as a complete side note and totally different issue, little programming note before we go, NBC is having, from what I hear, a video debut for a local London, Ontario band, and they're going to be coming on for a video interview tomorrow night. And I believe there's going to be a debut release right here. It's going to be a debut with a live interview from a bunch of the guys in the band. That'll be pretty interesting. It's just neat, the variety on the channel. And then, of course, next week we have the boys from British Columbia, the NBC Pacifica wing. We're actually expanding to, they're going to be doing a lot of broadcasting out there and expanding beyond the walls of my studio. And of course we have Mark Fanjoy back on Tuesday with another Canada the Nation. I believe he's going to have David on about the upcoming pay-per-view, and this is all about D-tax and people. This is actually offering a solution to keeping some of the money on your hard-earned paycheck that you do not have to pay unconstitutionally. And then of course we'll be back next Wednesday with another hard-hitting edition of Truth Talk. We'll probably be all over this October surprise. And then of course back to Thursday, so that's the 9/11 Bev Collins show, and all of these just great things on the network, and I hope that people are able to stay tuned and check it all out. So thanks again for joining us, Bev, and I'll let you
My pleasure.
take it away.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening in tonight. I hope that you spend some time and research yourself. If you need some links, give us a call. We'll be happy to share some good links with you. And just stay vigilant and do your own research, not just believe what you're being told, because the story keeps changing.
Check
anyway,
my work.
thanks a lot. Thanks, Chance, for being with us tonight, and we'll see you next Thursday for 9/11 Talks.
Good night, Bev.
Good night.
Less than 3% of you people read books, because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. Television is not the truth. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds.
Broadcasting live on Network Radio.
So turn off your television sets, turn them off now, turn them off and leave them off.
You're watching Network Radio. Live from the Media Broadcasting Center.